Form 34. Can't you say yes? Huh? You want a check box, no? Okay, today we are moving into another P, that is required for the product or services to reach out the consumers at their convenience, convenient time, convenient place, and also in the convenient way of processing that, right? So these requirements are there, and also this has to be taken in charge by the marketing, and the marketing activities have to be looking into these particular areas. So in that way, the marketing channels are said to be very important, or we call them as place. So place in the sense where that the things have been exchanged and it is brought to the availability of the customers, right? So that is the very main thing that we are seeing about, right? Now, in the context of these channels, we sometimes also can name it as a supply chain. Nowadays, there is a new, theory or new concept that has been introduced for us to talk in terms of supply chains, right? Now, why that we emphasize on the supply chain in the sense, either if the organization wants to get production or to produce, right? So they have to get the raw materials. Raw materials which are wanted has to be provided, or they have to be able to access those raw materials, right? In that juncture also we can talk about the supply chain. Similar way, for the customers also, the products or the final products that are being produced have to reach out them, or for the company that has to reach the customers, and for the customers it has to be available at their convenience, right? So we can talk the supply of the particular products or services. Either it can be raw materials or it can be the finished goods. But mostly for the marketing purpose, we are emphasizing on the fact of the production, or we'll call them the finished goods, right? So that is very much important. But now that we, as a organization, take it under the caption of supply chains, right? So supply, right? So supply, or it is called as channels. Okay. So now the supply chain, if you take about the supply chain, this is of course said to be producing the product or services and making it available to the buyers, right? So availability of the products or services may not only require about building a relationship with the customers, but also it has to have about a good network and good linkage with the suppliers, right? Mainly suppliers as well as resellers, or we can call them as distributors. Therefore, that requirement is wanted for the supply chain, right? So we have to have, for the reason now, if the product, final product have to be available in the marketplace, or the customers may have a chance of accessing that in the marketplace, it has to be produced. So if the production doesn't take place in the organization, then the customers cannot have as they require about the products. So why the production has not happened in the organization? Because suppliers have not given the raw material, right? So earlier we were very concerned about once that the production has taken place, how it would be pushed into the particular market, right? So we push it, or you can have a pull also. There is two strategies that we use about. One is the push strategy, other one is pull strategy, right? Push strategy in the sense that is concerned with a particular organization which is producing about the product. So once that the production has taken place, they try to push it to the market. So the product goes there, and once that the sales take place, then the revenue can be generated. Pull strategy is from the market, in the sense the customers may be requiring about certain products and services very often, that they may be requiring for number of reasons, maybe in order to fulfill their requirement, or maybe the quality of the product is well good, and maybe the prices are very less, maybe it is giving about more services or more users for the consumers. In that juncture, they are requiring, they are asking for us, the product has to be given, or they are requesting the organization to give the product. So that is what we call as pull strategy, right? From the market, you are pulling the product. You try to pull the product to the market. So that is pull. Push strategy is, rather than the pull, pushing without any such requirement, or maybe requirement is there, but that much of urgency or that much of what you call enthusiasm is not shown to get the product, right? So the organization's objective is to give away the product and get about the revenues, right? So the half of the section was only having more concern about. That is, once the product has been produced, that we try to either push it or pull it, right? But nowadays, not only that half, the other half before that, right, also have to be taken into concern. I think now you will understand what I am concentrating on, right? Supply chain, in the sense, not only that we are very much worried about once that the product has been produced and that product getting into the marketplace. Here, we have to also ensure whether the product would be produced, right? So we have to also get the raw materials from the respective raw materials, or the production services, or whatever has to be also given. So therefore, now the what you call the scope of this is being extended or expanded. Earlier the scope was smaller. Only after the production we are considering about the channels. But now, even before the production, that we are concerning about the channels, since that the channels are also providing about the required raw materials or the process that has to take place in an organization in order to have the products or services produced, right? So that's why now we are little bit shifting over from the marketing channel, right? Earlier we call it as marketing channel, but rather now we are not that much concerned, or we are not only concerned about the marketing channel, but also the channels before that, which is also equivalently important, right? So supply chains, of course, as it is been given here as a description, is about making or producing the product or services, and also making it available. You have to produce it. So producing, in the sense, one half, before half, right? And also making it available to the buyers, the other half, right? So requiring building a relationship not only with customers, if it is customers only, one half, but also with the key suppliers and also the resellers or the retailers, rather than retailers, because we cannot just only spot retailers. It would be wholesalers as well as retailers, right, in the company supply chain. Okay, so now I suppose that you will understand what is meant by supply chains. Okay, so these supply chains basically consist of two things, right? I mean, two partners are there. There are many partners, of course, that we can put it into two categories. One to be the upstream partners, other one to be the downstream partners, right? Upstream and downstream. Now, what is the difference between the upstream and downstream? By understanding of this, I think that you will make about a good, what you call, a picturization of what that I have told you about the supply chain. So, the upstream, of course, is from the company, right? Is a set of firms that supply the raw materials, components, parts, information or finance, and even the expertise needed in order to create a product or a services. So earlier I was just mentioning about the raw materials, but now from this elaboration that we can see, not only raw materials, even the components, parts, information, finance, expertise, whatever, right? So, so certain companies that are supplying of these is also very important partners, right? So those are falling into the upstream, right? So upstream in the sense before the particular production take place, right? So before. Then the other kind of partners are falling into downstream, right? So downstream, of course, is said to be the other side of it, right? One side that we have seen previously, the other side of the supply chain, right? So supply chain in the sense it consists of both the parts, right? So there you have to be very careful about. If I talk about marketing channels, then of course I'm talking only the half part of it, right? But supply chain, this is what more emphasis has been provided nowadays. We cannot only concentrate on one part, right? We have to equivalently give importance for the other part also as well. So with a marketing channel, when you take about the other part, then it is becoming the supply chain. Okay. Right. So now the downstream partners, if we want to talk about the downstream partners, right, are the marketing channels, right? So here also we have said the resellers. So this is the marketing channels, or called as the distribution channels, that look toward the customers. So in the representation of the customers, these people are performing some action, right? So downstream channel partners can be found as wholesalers, retailers, right? And also how that they are linked with the particular organization, right? So the vital link between the firm and its customer, right? Now, I suppose that you would have clearly understood what is the difference between supply chain and the marketing channels. So, why that we have taken this as a consideration is we wanted the marketing channel to be effective enough, for the reason that the product or services have to be available to the consumer's convenience, so that only the demand will be placed. So by that demand that we can be generating the income, right? So that has to be assured. That's why we are taken in the marketing mix the P as a place, a very important component, right? But now it is not only the marketing channel that we have to concentrate. we also have to give importance for the other side where the product has to be produced first, right? Before that, the product to be available to the consumers or customers, it has to be produced. So, this production also have to be ensured. So, what is the way of ensuring the production is to have a good link with the suppliers who are providing us the components, the raw materials, the information, the expertise, finance, whatever that you name it about, right? So, these have to be really ensured with. Therefore, that we at one stretch talking about the supply chain rather than a marketing channels. But of course, since that we are very much worried about the marketing strategies, we will be giving more importance to the marketing channel. So, you have to really understand what is the difference of the marketing channel with the supply channel. And therefore, if that concern is there, then we may call it the value, because at the first instance itself, when the marketing management was introduced, we said that we have to create value to the customers or the consumers, right? So the value creation is very, very important. If not for the value, there is no any requirement or demand over whatever that we are offering into the marketplace. So they have to realize that by the consumption of this product or consumption of these services, the value that they can get, something as a benefit that they can get. So they have to realize the value. And since that they are, looking into the value, the marketers also have to consider about the creation of the value to the consumers. Okay. So therefore, now as we are looking into displays or supply channel or marketing channel, now what is done here is the value delivery network, right? How the value is being delivered through the networking, right? So therefore, that we can also or have to understand about value delivery network. Now, what is meant by value delivery network? This network would be composed of the company, that is where the production take place, the suppliers, right, who are the providers of whatever components or raw materials to the company, the distributors who are helping the product to be transferred from the company to the consumer's hand, and of course the customers, right? So who partner with each other to improve the performance of the entire system in delivering the customer value. Now, all of these people, not only the company has to play the role, right? All of these people who are like partners in the network have a role to be played. Their contribution is very important. Equivalently, each partner's contribution is very important. So, we have to really have about more importance given for the partner's role. So, who are the partners? They can be the company, they can be the suppliers, right? The distributors, and ultimately the customers. Okay. Now that part also we have really gone through. Now we will move into about the marketing channel, because as I already told you, right, since that our subject is marketing, and we are very much concerned about developing the marketing strategy. So we take about more proportion from the marketing channel, right? Now the nature and the importance of the marketing channel, right? So now what is meant by this marketing channel is a set of interdependent organization that help make a product or service available for use or consumption by the consumer or business user. Right now, we are not only talking about the final market, we are also talking about the organizational market. So, it can be either consumers or can be business consumers or business users. Okay. So, there are organizations, marketing channels mean there are organizations which are making available the products to the hands of the consumers or the business users. Right. So, now, who are these organizations? If just we uh, consider more, then it comes with the answer of intermediaries. Right. Now, these intermediaries are offering producers some great efficiency in making the goods available to the target market. Right. So, efficiency is very important. So, what is meant by efficiency? In a very cost effective way that we are making the product available in the marketplace. But of course, there is argument towards this, since that the intermediaries are there in the particular channel, the prices are being increased for the final consumer. Then you may be asking how that the cost can be minimized, right? So of course, there is many aspects to argue with, right? But anyway, these intermediaries, since these intermediaries are very efficient only on the distributions, that is their duty or their function is only on the distribution side. So, since that they are having about the expertise on the distribution side, they have created or they would have created efficiency on doing that. So, if we have the intermediaries, right, so products can be made available in the target market. Okay. So, these efficiency may be through the contacts that they are having. They may be having contacts with the consumers, right, with the business users, and the experience that they have, like how that they can make the product available, what can be the transportation mode that they are selecting, what can be the storage that they are applying over, so that through the experience that they will come to know which one. And of course, they are specialized on the particular activity, because this is a one activity that they are very much focused, right? Not that their focus is spread that, right? So here it is focused only on the distribution side. So therefore, automatically the specialization would be created, right? And also the scale of operations. So scale of operations in the sense how that they buy it in bulk, right, and distribute that. So what sort of items that they are buying, that is what brands that they are buying and what quantity that they are buying. So by this bulk purchasing, the scale of operations that they can get into, right? So by this, right, they are providing about a greater efficiency for the organization, right? So this is very much able only by intermediaries. Now, if that organization do it by themselves, then to this level that they may not be able to get the efficiency. But instead of that organization, if intermediaries are being involved, we can have efficiency. So that is what we meant by this particular explanation. Okay. Then the company's channel decision directly affect every other marketing decision. Right. Now, if you take about the pricing also, the cost of transportation, the cost of storage has to be included as a cost. right? So when you're fixing about the price, if this cost get added, the price has to also go up, right? And depending on what sort of transportation mode that you are using and the storage, right, as well as the communication or whatever, right, the product design also has to be having some sort of a concept, right? How to have about the product, how to do the packaging for the product, how to have the labeling for the product, right? So here again the channels decision. So decision regarding of the channels will be having about the influence over that, right? And now, by economical view, these intermediaries transform the assortment of product into assortments wanted by the consumers. Right now, if we are having about the direct marketing, that is what without the intermediaries. Actually, direct marketing meant without the intermediaries. Now, of course, we are talking with the inclusion of intermediaries, right? So, in case if it is a direct marketing, of course, it the assortment that we are providing may not be what is wanted for the consumers, right? Because only one type of product or like few type of product that we are able to deliver to them. But in case if the intermediaries are there, what they will be doing, they are buying from many of the producers, right, and selling to the consumers. So consumers have more choices, and also that is what meant by this particular statement. It is been turned into assortments that is wanted by consumers. Now, when the consumers go to the retailer, you will observe that whatever that they wanted is available at one shot that they can purchase all. But if the consumers have to get it direct away from the producers, then they are only able to get one type or few types of products. Right? So, this is what the intermediaries are providing. That is making more convenience for the consumers. Okay. So, making about the assortments which are wanted, not the assortment that is transferred, but of course available of assortments that is wanted by the consumers. Right. So, these channel members or intermediaries, different names I may be using, right? Don't get confused with intermediaries or channel members, okay? They may add value, right, for the product. Now, what is the value addition these intermediaries or marketing channels are having about? So, they can add value by time. What is meant by time? Right? If it is a producing organization where that we wanted to buy it, only certain time, certain period of time only, we may able to access it, isn't it? Where that they open the plant for manufacturing or something, or when the organization is open for operations, and before that is been closed. That is the time which is available, or that is the time that we have to purchase. But of course, if it is a retailers or wholesalers, some retailers even they can give the product 24 hours time, right? Around the clock they may be working. Not necessary they to open the shop and have it for 24 hours, but of course now of course the technology is available, so through the technologies they may make available the products that is wanted. So by time value is being created. Place, as I said, if you wanted to buy it from the manufacturer, you have to go to that manufacturer's place, and that place may be very distant from where that you are residing. But here, if intermediaries or the marketing channels are being involved, they will have a shop or have a particular place where many products are available. So place also it is very close by, right? Either on the way to work that you can purchase, or from your residence that would be very close. So the place facility, the place value is being given. Then the possession gaps. So what do you mean by possession? If you are buying from the manufacturing organization, there is lots and lots of procedures, right? Means that you have to send about the price requirement and the product like PRN. Okay, the purchase order has to be placed, and thereafter the products will be bundled into, and the payments have to be made in the particular section. Then you have to take that receipt and produce it at the gatekeeper. Then only the product will be delivered to your hand. But of course, in the retailers or wholesale, even without the bill, right? Getting about the cash and providing the product. So the possession. So possession in the sense the change of ownership, right? So it is made easier by the channels, and the long procedures are being very much shortened when it comes to the channels. So these channel people, channel members or the intermediaries are very important for the reason that they are providing these facilitations, timing, the place, the possessions, and many other benefits also they may be providing of discounts, they may be providing of advertisements, they may be bundling the product, many things that they can do, right? But of course that we have seen it on the very major functions that they are providing with. Okay, right. Now we will see about the numbers of channels, right? Or of course, now what is the facilitation, the distributor, or now different names I am using, don't get confused. Either I will say as distributor or intermediaries or channel, right? Channel members. Okay, right. Now you can see from this figure, now how do this distributor or marketing channel reduces the number of transaction, or the number of channel transaction. Now consider the first side of that, that is half of this, right? So see, there are manufacturers, 3 manufacturers, where the 3 manufacturers have to have individual relationship with the respective 3 customers, right? Those 3. Now see the relationship. So the first manufacturer have to have a relationship with the first one, second one, third one. Second manufacturer same as that. First one, second one, third. And if there is other manufacturer also same as that. And if you keep on adding about more manufacturers, then they have to have an individual relationship with the customers, right? Now individually they have to look after. But what happens when there is a distributor, right? This is the facility. Now, no need for the manufacturer to have individual relationship with the customers. Okay. So, what that? Now, here see the relationship to be 9. But here, you have reduced it by 6. I mean, up to 6 that you have reduced the relationship. So, the manufacturer have to have only the relationship with the distributor. But whereas the distributor will have a relationship with the first customer, second customer, as well as third customer. And for the distributor, it is very easier for the reason that this particular relationship, they can utilize not only for one manufacturer, they can have it for the rest of the manufacturers. So it is like beneficial for the distributors to have individual relationship, right? So these individual face-to-face or one-to-one relationship can be can be utilized for the other manufacturers also as well. So as a distributor, that they are getting the product from different manufacturers and making a good assortment for all these customers. Now I suppose that you will understand why we have to really want a distributor or a channel. Okay, so this picture clearly gives us that idea. Okay, now as a next aspect, we will see about what are the key functions performed by channel members. Okay, so they help it to complete the transaction, and also they help you to fulfill the completed transaction. Right? One side, to complete the transaction, they have some facilitation, so some sort of helping hand that they are giving. And not only that, once that the transaction be completed, even thereafter also their functions are very much important. So we have, trying to understand the people's or the distributors' function in two ways or two segments that we are dividing in. One to be helping to complete the transactions, and other one is to fulfill the completed transaction. Now, helping the complete transaction, these are the things. One is information, right? So regarding of the product or services that they will be providing information. Promotion, right? Sometimes the manufacturer as well as the distributor both will get together and design about the advertising. And in some instances, even the distributor only have about the advertisements and sales promotions, whatever now. The last piece there where that we are going to study about how the promotions are being done. So it can be the publicity, it can be the advertisement, it can be the sales promotion, that you name it, right? So many things will be done by the distributor. And contact, right? So they have to develop about a relationship, right? If not for the relationship, we may not be able to deliver the product to the consumer. So contact is very important. And earlier, of course, we have to have a physical communication, but now, of course, it is not necessitated, right? Even with a small SMS, that we can have a good relationship, right? So contact is also done by them. Matching, right? Matching in the sense what sort of products is wanted by the consumers and with who, which kind of manufacturers that we have to have a linkage. So we are matching. So one side, the producers or the manufacturers are trying to, push the product to the marketplace, and on the other side, the consumers wanted different kinds of products for the purchase, and the requirement of both of the parties. So the requirement from both parties, since it is being different, these people in between are matching the requirements. The different requirements are being matched with, right? And also they may be providing negotiation, right? Maybe regarding of the quality or regarding of the performance or the assortment or the price, right? Negotiation may be also done, right? So that is with the first category that we look into. And of course, if you move into the second category, right? In order to fulfill the completed transaction. So physical distribution that they are providing, right? So they may be shifting, maybe on their own transport, or they can even have a outsourcing for the transport, right? So products may be shifted free of charge, or there may be a certain charge also charge for the shifting of for the transportation. And financing, we very often see that people purchase the product on credit basis, right? So ready cash is there, but in case if it is a ready cash, they very often provide a discount. But if it is a credit sales or a credit transaction wanted with, then of course the price that is being charged would be different. So financing is also done by, at the same time, risk taking, right? So if the product doesn't suit about the requirements of the customers, there is complaints, and maybe there are some compensations also required from the customer side, right? So some people may not report or may not reveal the dissatisfaction that they are having, but they may spread it on word of mouth to others not to buy from this particular paper, right? Some may be going for like customers court or customer protective organization in order to complain and get a redress, and some may even filing a case in the court, right? So risk taking is also there where these people are doing. So from the manufacturer, when the product is being purchased, then there is no connectivity because the possession or the ownership of the product has been changed from the manufacturer to the intermediary. So now we may not do any sort of, or we may not take any legal action against the manufacturer. Right now, it is the intermediaries who are going to get connected with, right? So these are some. Okay. Now, after understanding that, the decision that we have to make regarding of how many members or how many numbers are going to be in the channel. That is the number of channel members, right? So the number of these channels will be indicating the length of the channel. That is whether we are going to have a lengthy channel or a very shortened channel, right? The very shortest one is called to be direct marketing channel where intermediaries are not there. Therefore, we call them as zero level channel. Zero level channel in the sense there is no intermediaries. Really, at that instance, the direct marketing take place, right? No intermediary is there, right? And of course, if there are many channels or rather than channels, many channel members, right now say from manufacturer it goes to the wholesaler, from wholesaler it goes to the retailer, from retailer it may be going to the consumer. Sometimes from wholesaler to the agent, from agent to the retailer, from retailer to the consumers, right? So if there is more members, now depending on the members, now say if only there is a wholesaler, we will tell it one level uh, one level intermediary, right? If there is two people involved, then two level intermediaries, something like that, right? So it is called as that. So now we can distinguish the marketing channel to be direct marketing channel and other one to be indirect marketing channels, right? So direct marketing channel, it is, as I already told you, there is no intermediaries between the consumer as well as the manufacturing or the particular firm. But in case if it is an indirect marketing channel, there may be more than one intermediary. So intermediary levels also we can lately understand what is meant by intermediary level. So what I have already told you, it can be 0 level, it can be 1 level, 2 level, 3 level. Okay, right. Now, what is the types of flow or connected flow, right? These intermediaries are having, if you see about, then we will understand they have to be the physical flow of products, right? How the product is reaching out the destination or reaching about the particular consumer's place, right? So that is the physical flow of product. Flow of ownership, that the ownership transfer, right? The possessions, right? And payment flow, right? From the customers, how the payment is moving towards the intermediaries. The information flow. So the information flow can be in two ways. One is the information flow flowing from manufacturer to the wholesaler, retailer, and customers. Then from customers to the retailer, from and retailer to the wholesaler, as well as to the manufacturing firm. And also there is a promotion flow, right? So how the product is being promoted, right, in the hands of the consumer. So promotion flow is also there. So these are some connected different types of flows which that we can uh, connect or which that we can relate with the channel member. So these are some of the flows. Okay. Now this is what I was earlier talking about. Now this is for the two markets that they have provided the channel members. The A part to be the consumer marketing channel and B part to be the business marketing channel. Now the first one in the consumer marketing channel, producer to the consumer. This is what I call it as a 0 level, right? This is channel 1. Channel 2, now only one person is involved, right? So here the retailer is there, producer to the retailer and retailer to the consumer. Then channel 3, here we can call it as 1 level intermediary, 1 level. Here it is 2 level or channel 3, right? So from producer to the wholesaler, from wholesaler to retailer, and from retailer to the consumer. Okay. So this is for the consumer market, right? Or final consumer market. This is of course for the organization market or business market. Right now you can see this to be channel 1, where there is a direct transaction or direct what you call flow of things, right, from producer to the business customer. But again, as that we have seen in the consumer market, here also 1 level can be involved, right? So there to be the business distributor. And there can be 2 people also involved, one to be the manufacturer's representative, right? That is like agent, and then having about the business distributor, right? So this is the decisions that we have to make about regarding how much of or how many channel members that we are going to have. Right now, knowing about this, anything that you want to ask of what that I have explained up to now? Okay. So now, if we just move on to the channel behavior and what is the organization's context. Now, marketing channel, which consists of firms that have partner for their common good, with each member playing a specialized role. Right? We have already told you different people and their role is different. Retailer will have a different role. Manufacturer will have a different role, right? Wholesaler will have a different role. Again, the supplier will be having a different role. But no need to much consider about the supplier. Here we are really talking about the marketing channel. Right? So, and each member depends on one another, right? So that of course, obviously, we know without the wholesaler, the retailer may not able to get about the facilitations, right? Not only the product, not only with the physical flow, other flows are also there. No, payment flow is there, information flow is there, possession flow is there, promotion flow is there. So many aspects have been provided by the respective members. Okay, so there is of course a dependency among these channel members, right? And each members really will have a specialized role to be conducted or that to be executed, right? And the channel will be most effective when each member assumes the task it can do best, right? So when the channels are to be effective, we have to ensure that the people who are coming in between, right, have to do about their requirement to their best, right? And at the same time, there is also channel conflicts, right? Now we know we have already told that different people, different roles that they have to play, and they are a specialized role that they are executing with, and they have to do it to the very best, right? But if that doesn't go in the correct way or in the required way, then of course we can be expecting about the channel conflicts. இவன் வந்திருக்க அவசர ஒரு கலந்துட்டு போட்ட அவசரம் lecture system. So if that doesn't take place in what the way it is required, then we can expect about the channel conflicts, right? So channel conflicts, of course, really gives us or refers us about the disagreement over the goals, roles, and rewards by the channel members, right? So if the payments are not provided as per the time stipulated, then there is uh, different problems arising over. And if the information is not given and maybe the roles are not properly played by, right? So there can be problems coming in between. And even in these channel conflicts, we can identify two types, one to be the horizontal conflict, another one to be the vertical conflict. Horizontal conflict, of course, will take place among the firms at the same level of channel. Now, conflicts between wholesaler and wholesaler, between manufacturer and manufacturer, between retailer and retailer, right? So that is what is meant by horizontal conflicts. Now, you may be asking, how can more than one wholesaler comes into, right? There can be 2 or 3 wholesalers the particular can assign with, right? So now say one wholesaler will be looking into national market. One wholesaler will be looking into international market. Even within the country also, in order to have about the vast coverage of areas, you can have different wholesalers assigned to different provinces or different districts, different region. You can have wholesalers, different wholesalers or number of wholesalers. Okay, rather than different, we may put it in terms of number of wholesalers. So, if there is conflict between the wholesalers, then సరే సరే లేదు అవసరం లేదు ప్యానల్ ఎలక్షన్స్ ప్లాన్ చేస్తాం ఓకే ఓకే right. Vertical conflicts occurs between different levels, that is between the wholesalers and retailers, or retailers and the customers, or manufacturers and the wholesalers, different levels, right? So the conflict also that we can put it into two different categories. Why this categorization comes into is it is, or it makes us more simplified to manage. So that's why only we are having more categorization, right? So then we will be knowing what is really the conflict taking place. So as it's not divided, or as it is not put into the categorization, then we may not know what is the nature of the conflict taken place, right? So that's why the channel conflicts also, that we have put it into two different categories, that to be horizontal conflict and the vertical conflict. Okay, right. Now, since that we were talking about the supply chain, we also can get into an understanding of this vertical marketing system, which is called as VIMS, vertical marketing system. Now, it is really said, historically, conventional distribution channels have lacked leadership, power, right? Which has also brought into many damaging conflicts and poor performance. Because I will show it how this conventional distribution channel is different from vertical marketing system. But actually, what has been the problem in the conventional distribution channel is there had been not a leadership, proper leadership taken, and the power to be distributed. So, which has created more challenges or more issues, right? Now, throughout these movements, right, there had been a development which has emerged into a vertical marketing system, which really provides about the channel leadership. So that's why this particular channel system, vertical marketing system, VIMS, has been introduced. Right now, just a comparison, if you make between between the conventional distribution channel and the vertical marketing system. In the conventional distribution channel, right, it had about one or more independent producers, wholesalers, and retailers. So there had been people scattered, or the members had been scattered, right? And each member is a separate business seeking to maximize its own profit. They were not worried about working in a collaborative way. For the reason that each of those business or each of those members, channel members, were considered to be organizations, and therefore those organizations wanted themselves to get the maximum benefit, or themselves to get about more profits generated with. Right? So they were really functioning as an independent people, not any relationship that they had with the members. Right? So that sort of what you call character had been observed in the conventional distribution channel. Right? But subsequently, over the years, there had been a development over that to turn this into a vertical marketing system, VIMS, where these producers, wholesalers, and resellers acted in a unified system. They worked in a collaborative way, right? They were not what do you call in a superior or in a subordinate levels, right? Each of those members realized their role and their role to be played to the maximum best, and from that the whole system to create about more profits. Right? So if the system creates more profits, then the distribution of those profits among these members would increase with. So that has been the ideology behind these WIPs. Right? So here we really compare and see this one, what you call the conventional distribute channel with a vertical marketing system, where here they function as a unified system, right? But of course, here they as an independent way, the producers, wholesalers, and retailers were functioning about. Right? But in the vertical marketing system, we can have different categories also, said to be corporate, contractual, and administrative. Lately, we will look into these things. But of course, what that we have to know for the moment is that they work in a unified or in a collaborative way. I will show the what you call the diagram. Now, see about this diagram. Conventional distribution versus vertical marketing system. So conventional from producer, wholesaler, retailer, all were as an independent unit or independent organizations working for their own benefit or for their own profits. But in the vertical marketing system, you can observe the producer, wholesaler, retailer. Now, we cannot say who is the what you call, who is the dominant person, right? Right, producer or retailer or wholesaler. Who to be the dominant person, we cannot identify. All three collectively work in order to increase the profits which are generated by the system itself. Okay, so this is the difference that we can observe it. Right? So we said that in the vertical, so therefore, than the conventional marketing system, the vertical marketing system is said to be more beneficial. Okay, but it is not to say that all the industries have the WIM system. Even the conventional system still also exists, but some of the firms have attained about their profits by maintaining about this vertical marketing system. Okay, in the vertical marketing system, as I already told you, there are three types. One to be the corporate vertical marketing system, then contractual marketing system, then to be the administrative vertical marketing system. Now, you understand what is meant by vertical. Vertical in the sense, there are different levels. Horizontal, vertical, right? Horizontal conflict we saw, having about the conflict with the same level of members. Vertical, to have a conflict among or between the different level of members, right? Here, vertical is, now we are considering different levels of people getting together, right? In order to maximize the profits over the channels, right? On the channels, how much of profits that they can generate with. Right? So here we look into the divisions of the corporate vertical marketing system, that is to be one category, which integrates the successive stages of production and distribution under single ownership. Now, we really saw about this one, this collectively working. So, though that they are collectively working under what you call corporate vertical marketing system, all are being coming under one ownership. Right? This company may be functioning as a manufacturer. This company may have about wholesaler function at the same time retailer function also. But of course, there are different types, different levels, but still they are coming under one ownership, right? So that is said to be corporate vertical marketing system. Other one to be contractual vertical marketing system, right? Here what happens is the firms are members in the different levels, right? Maybe at the production or distribution, they get together on a contractual basis. That's not permanent, right? In the corporate verticals marketing system, it's permanent. But here, different firms, different independent firms are working together for a certain period of time in a contractual basis. So that we name it as a contractual vertical marketing system. Then coming into the third category, that to be administrative vertical marketing system, right, which coordinates the successive stages of production and distribution through the size and power of one of the parties. Right? Now, not that all have the same power, not that all have the same resources. Depending on what is the power and the resources that they are having about, that they administrate the particular, system. That is called administrative vertical marketing system. Now, here in the contractual vertical marketing system, almost those independent firms are treated not to have differences. But here, regarding of the power and the resources that they are having, they are treated as different people, but still that they work collaboratively together depending on what is, of course, their power, or what is the portion of the power that they are having, right? So there is also a provision if this is on this basis to fall into an administrative vertical marketing system, right? So these are different types. Now, of course, since that we have seen about the vertical system, right, there is also another system that has been developed. Vertical in the sense, as I have told you, different levels of the members collectively having about their operations which may maximize about their profits in the distribution system. Right? Horizontal marketing system, what happens, you would come to know, or you would really understand. This is two or more companies at one level. Wholesaler, manufacturer, retailer. Okay, join together to follow a marketing opportunity. Right? Now, I think, say for instance, this AutoStamp, right? They are working in a horizontal marketing system. They join together, right, and fix about the prices or charges for the number of kilometers that is being hired. Okay, so that is same level. Same level people get together. So when same level people get together, what will happen in the market? The bargaining power of that system will increase because individually they may not be functioning. They will be functioning in a collective way. So by that, they may able to generate more profit. So by vertical marketing system also we are trying to generate more profit, and also by horizontal marketing system. But of course, the nature it happens is different. Okay. So here the arrangement is that two or more companies at one level will join together with the marketing opportunity, right? So here company might join a force with the competitors or non-competitors, right? In some instances, there may be chances of this to take place within the competitors as well as non-competitors, right? So at the same time, they can also work in a permanent basis. There we saw about a corporate vertical one that is in the permanent basis, or as like contractual or administrative way on a temporary basis also they may be able to work, right? So such type of things are nowadays available in the market. Okay, horizontal marketing system. And some will have about multi-channel distribution system, right? Which is some in some instances called as hybrid marketing channels, right? Not only what do you call? Not only you depend on one system, there are many systems that you can have. In the sense, now earlier we have seen about 0 level, 1 level, 2 level channel, right? So we assume that each of those company will follow one of that system, right? Either that they can have a 0 system, or that they can have 1 level channel, or they can have a 2 level channels. But of course, when it comes to the multi-channel distribution system or in a hybrid marketing channel, what happens? A single firm will have more than one system, more than one level channels, right? Even that you can observe this diagram. So here you can see producers to consumers, right? So that they can have, right, different channels, right? Consumer segment 1. Now, for the consumer, we know that we have divided the market into segments now. For one segment, they may be using about the direct marketing, right? For the other segment or other segment of groups, that they may be using about another type of channel, right? So this is how they may be operating also with these system. Not necessary that the firm to have only one system, right? So they can have multi-channel distribution system where we call it as the hybrid marketing channel, right? So when a single firm set up 2 or more marketing channels to reach about 1 or more customer segment, right? Even for the one segment also they can have 2 way of reaching, right? So what are the advantages that they may have is this company can expand its sales and market coverage and gain about opportunities, right, for the products and services regarding of the specific needs of consumers, right? So even in the particular segment, you can find people having about the different requirements, right? Now, though that I have been segmentized in a female market, that does not mean that I am also having the same behavior of another female. right? That female may be having a different desire than what that I have. So we cannot approach those two female with one channel. For maybe for me, the direct channel would be appropriate, and maybe for the other person, the indirect channel would be appropriate. So by having about many channels, that you can have a expanded market and a larger market coverage you may be able to have with, right? But of course, there is disadvantage also. It's very difficult for us to control, and also there is a possibility of generating more conflicts between the channels, right? So now maybe one channel member will be trying to address the same customer, right? So therefore, whether that customer being or that consumer being the customer of this channel or the other channel, and when this type of situations take place, then there is a conflict, possibilities of conflict to happen, right? And of course, we have to look into this changing channel organization. Uh, shall we have it in the next class? I think up to now, whether that you have any clarification, you wanted to have any clarification? If not, I'll wind up, and we will have tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday, as usual, 10:30. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.